There are two types of power in this world: power over yourself and power over other people. But I don't teach power over other people. That's manipulation. What I'm trying to teach you is the power over yourself. The power of full control to defeat any temptation, conquer your body, and achieve anything that you want. It truly is possible to accomplish anything you want and become any person you want to be. Sometimes you hear about really rich and wealthy guys reinventing themselves, and that's because they're powerful. They know the secrets that I'm about to teach you. Most of these are very difficult to perform, but they are possible, and I have not conquered all of them, but I have conquered some of them. The first one of which I'm still working on and I have not perfected, and that is staying calm in all situations. Do not underestimate how powerful you become when you're able to stay calm in all situations. First of all, it's not easy. People are going to get on your nerves, your girl, your boss, your sibling. And in that moment of agitation, you may start raising your voice or lashing out, and that makes you actually look weak. Usually, if you're in a debate or an argument with someone, the first person to lose their composure loses the argument. And this doesn't even apply to just arguing and debates. Take a look at fighters. You ever seen the standoff of two fighters? One of them's like super high energy, egotistical, I'm gonna destroy you. And the other guy is calm and collected. The calm and collected guy is usually the one who wins. And I've put this to the test multiple times, and it really, really does work. But it's difficult because you're fighting against your body's instincts. If your first instinct is to react, it's fight or flight mode, you might feel impulsive to act on the first emotion that hits your mind. So really what this is, more than anything, is being able to feel your emotions, see that your body is trying to tell you to react some certain way, but going against it. It's going against your impulses, and that can be difficult for a lot of people. I know it is for me. I get very defensive when people start, picking on small things about me and my life and such. I get super defensive, but I have to just kind of swallow it and try and remain calm. And I've noticed that in my marriage, actually, it has helped me so much. My brother told me one night, he's like, if you ever get in an argument with your woman, you have to stay calm. The second you lose your composure, you lost the argument. And so I started to give it a chance, and it was funny because when my wife started to realize she couldn't get a reaction out of me, if she started raising her tone, my normal response is to raise it to match hers, but I would just stay calm. And what happens is eventually and very quickly, she realizes, maybe even subconsciously, that she has to bring her tone down to your level. So instead of matching other people's energy, you're forcing them to come down to your level. And in a sense, you're kind of taking control of the situation. But it is not easy to do because obviously people are going to piss you off. It's something you really have to work on. But I'm telling you, if you're able to remain calm in all situations, you will notice very quickly how things start to change in your life. Number 2 is body hacking. There's so much science coming out now, health sciences about, different ways to improve your body, your aging, your energy levels, etc. There's certain ways to sleep. There's certain times of the day that you should be going for a walk or working out. There are certain diet plans that will work better for you. And what this is going to involve, because everybody reacts differently to these different body hacking processes. We all have different DNA. So what you want to do is just experiment a ton and see what works for you. So as many of you guys know, I did this ketogenic intermittent fasting diet, and it completely changed my body. I lost all this weight. I got my energy back. My organs healed. I mean, it's actually crazy. I take no medications. I take no supplements. It's incredible. I'm in peak physical condition at 40 years old. The best shape of my life at 40 years old. And I don't need doctors or anything anymore. And part of that is the body hacking, which is, most of that really is just diet, exercise, and sleep. But that is a huge part of body hacking. You'd be surprised at how much your mood is influenced by your food and your sleep. It is so imperative, guys, that you take care of your bodies. And I'm saying this as someone who grew up as the fattest kid in school, and now I'm in better shape than most dads my age. That the changes you make, these little changes like going to sleep an hour earlier, making food at home instead of eating the plastic food out at the restaurants. If you want to learn more about body hacking, you can follow Brian Johnson, but I really don't think that you need to go to that crazy extent, doing all these weird lab tests and stuff. Really, it's just about eating super clean, getting your exercise, your sleep, and drink water. But each of those has subcategories. You know, sleep is a whole science on its own. Food is a whole science on its own. Maybe the keto diet doesn't work for you. Maybe your body likes carbohydrates, which is very possible. But you need to figure out all the best methods that work the best for you and your DNA. And you're gonna notice that these changes, not only in your physical body, but your mind as well, will start to clean up. All right, the next thing that made me really powerful was I stopped lying. Just straight up tell the truth always. I haven't lied since I had my experience meeting God. And to be honest, it's been really easy. Like, at first, I thought people would kind of be taken aback by it, but very quickly I started to see that in my relationships, when I only told the truth, even when it was negative, that people start to change their outlook towards me a little bit, but like in a more positive note. They start to listen to me more, for one. Now, the initial reaction when you speak the truth, sometimes people don't like to hear the truth, but eventually they will start to respect you a great deal for it. But it's even more than that. Like, when you see people debate, the one who isn't sure enough about their facts usually loses the debate. When you're defending truth, it's much easier and it makes you much stronger. The people who are weak are the ones who try to defend a lie. You can tell that their verbiage, they try and use this like manipulative kind of language. They beat around the bush. Their arguments are weak. True power really does come from being able to tell the truth. But in order to know the truth, you have to have a great deal of wisdom and knowledge. And that's why you'll see a lot of these debaters, they have so many facts and statistics and stuff, they just rip off the top of their head. They're very, very, very knowledgeable because they don't want to lose those debates, but that knowledge is rooted in a truth that they're able to defend, and that's why they win the debate. And I mean, we could all use a little more truth in this world. All our governments lie like they breathe, and everybody's so sick of it. I think we should just make it good practice to start telling the truth, even when the person you're talking to might not like it. I think in the end, usually they will respect you more for it. And if they don't, forget them. They weren't a friend in the first place, or they couldn't handle the criticism. They couldn't handle the truth. So forget them. They don't have integrity, And the next thing that makes you super powerful, so much more than I had any idea, is God. So I was raised Catholic, but I left the church because I was born into it. I didn't really understand it. I struggled to read the Bible. I continued to pray to God every night and just give thanks, ask him to forgive my sins and stuff, but that was about it. I stopped going to church, and it wasn't until way later in my life that I found God again. And I found him through research, through reading all of the religions and their books, and studying and actively searching for the truth. And now I understand why the three Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, have lasted over 1,000 years, and why they are the strongest three religions on the planet. Because when you fill yourself with God, it makes you like invincible. It makes you so powerful, it's crazy. It gives you divine energy. You're able to pull this strength out of nowhere, and it's incredible. And that strength that you're able to pull is the reason why these religions have dominated for over 1,000 years.
In the 1950s, a psychologist named Kurt Richer attempted an experiment where he dropped rats into a bucket of water. After 15 minutes, they would drown. In another version of the experiment, he pulled them out right before they were about to drown, dried them out, allowed them to rest, and then placed them back into the water. After they experienced rescue once, some of those rats kept swimming for 60 hours, a 24,000% increase. Now, where did all of that energy come from? And how can we apply that to ourselves? The value of hope, that there is a savior, that there is more. It can fill you with this divine energy out of nowhere to push through impossible, crushing defeats or challenges or anything that is stopping you.
Now, I want to use that as a prime example of how strong God can make you. And without God, you are at a severe disadvantage against those who do believe in God. Not only do you stand for your convictions, it makes you harder to manipulate. You're grounded in the values of honesty and integrity and doing the right thing and peace, and you will fight to protect it. But more importantly, you can draw on the power of God to fill you with energy and make you mighty. Let me give you some examples. I've been studying the Templars a lot. I'm completely fascinated by them. And the story of Richard the Lionheart, as he engaged on his crusade, is one of the most incredible, legendary stories. It's like greater than a movie, and it's real. It's just so unbelievable. These guys, these Templars, were in the middle of the desert. We're in the Middle East. It's 115 degrees. They're wearing 40 pounds of metal armor, literally cooking inside their armor as they marched for 6 days while arrows were raining down on them from Salah ad-Din's men. And they took it, and they just had this discipline to not break formation, stay in their formation, keep cooking, keep getting rained on arrows, and do not break formation. They had the most unbelievable discipline. That's really what made the Templars so much more powerful than everyone else. It was their discipline. They had unmatched, unparalleled discipline. And so these men, they're dehydrated, starving, they got arrows sticking out of them, but they just keep going. They don't break, they don't snap. Now, any normal man in that situation would freak out and die, but they didn't. They ended up winning the battle, one of the greatest, most legendary wars the world has ever seen. I mean, really, the story of Richard the Lionheart versus Salah ad-Din is just so crazy. But those men were able to survive, and they were able to win because they had this unyielding faith in God, and they were drawing just this energy out of nowhere in order to stay alive and be able to fight. After 6 days of marching in the desert, they finally turned around and attacked, and they won. If you want to become powerful, find God. Okay, the next one, I like to call it mind power, but it's really just discipline. It's the ability to conquer your temptations. Let's say it's raining outside. You don't want to go to the gym. You know, it's cold and raining, but you force yourself to go anyway. You have a sweet tooth craving. You want to go out and get some ice cream, but your mind power is so high. You know that will mess your stomach up, and so you stay home and you eat a healthy meal. Maybe you're in a situation where lust is taking over, but if you have enough mind power and discipline, you won't get yourself in trouble. The guy who has an extremely high amount of mind power will destroy the guy who has no discipline every single day. That will make him more powerful, simply in that sense. Now, it is always going to be hard to conquer temptation. Even priests are tempted. It's very, very difficult. You know, we are essentially fused with an animal, and the animal has a whole bunch of instincts and needs, and you're at a constant state of war with it. But the more you win, the easier it gets. You just have to actively be aware and understand when you get in these situations where your body's telling you want something or you don't want something, and you know that's the wrong choice. You know that the right choice is to go to the gym or turn off the video games and start studying or whatever it is. When you get into those moments where it's your mind versus your body, you have to make sure that your mind wins. You have to say, okay, I'm in a little battle now, and I need to win these little battles. And there's actually a science that the more you do this, a piece of your brain actually grows, and you become more and more resistant to the temptations or the needs of your body. So in essence, you're becoming more powerful because you don't need to do whatever your body is asking all the time. You have conquered it. If you take a look at these guys, they get up at 5 a.m., they go to the gym, they go to work, you know, and then they come home and they get all this stuff done and they're rich. And it's like, how are you even accomplishing all of these things? Well, they're quite powerful. They've already conquered their bodies and now their mind is in full control. Okay, the next one. Now this one is really gonna blow your mind, but it's one of the biggest and greatest ways to become more powerful is to have no fear of death. Now, I do not fear death because of the experience I had meeting God, and I saw it. To me, it's real. To me, death is not the end. And so I don't fear death at all. It's God completely removed fear from me. Like, I have no fear anymore. It's pretty wild. I still do have a great deal of anxiety though. For whatever reason, God will not remove the anxiety from me. I have the most horrible anxiety and guilt, but I guess he wants me to have it for some reason. Like, I don't know, it's just something I have to live with. Maybe it's a hidden blessing that feels like a curse. Perhaps, but you would be blown away at how much we limit ourselves in our lives because we're scared of death. Like, all these things we want to do in these adventures, like we can go do anything. The man who does not fear death will always be hundreds of times stronger than the man who does. I mean, look at all the people who sailed the high seas looking for new land and discovering new countries and such. It's about bravery, really. But the most interesting thing that I found was that how much we limit ourselves in our lives because we're so scared of death. And when that is removed, everything changes. It's very incredible to not have fear of death. And I want you to really like sit and think about and contemplate, what am I not doing in life because I'm scared of death? Like, how is that fear deep down preventing me from accomplishing my dreams? And if you sit on it and think about it enough, I bet you're gonna come to some conclusions. We like to feel safe and comfortable, but that really, really inhibits us. And getting out of your comfort zone, forcing yourself to take on some sort of new situation or new experience is expanding your horizons, building up some confidence, and you're learning something new. It's really important for your growth. And so if you don't fear death, like if you just make up in your mind, like I have it in my mind 100% for me, that death is not the end. In fact, I believe that the other world is the real one. And this world is like a blink of an eye in our experience. That's what I believe. So I don't fear it at all. If you only had 1 week left, what would you do? You know you're not going to die in 7 days. So it's kind of difficult, but if you're able to phase your mindset into one where you're dying next week, like set a date on it. I have 7 days to accomplish all my bucket list items before I die. Like, you know you're not going to die, but you should attempt this. You should write it down, what you feel like you need to accomplish before you die, and then just do it all in a week. You'll be amazed at how incredible you feel and how accomplished you felt. Because you pushed yourself to do something. You set a goal, although imaginary, you wrote it down, and then you acted it out. And maybe you went skydiving, you talked to that girl you were holding back on, XYZ. And maybe some of those things were incredible for you. And it only took you forcing yourself a little push, just doing a tiny little exercise like that, and then pushing yourself to do it, and it starts changing your life. And now you're like, wow, I can take risks. I'm a lot stronger than I thought. Like, some of these risks I just took, the girl I talked to, I got her number. We're going out next week, because you're not acting because you're too scared. So you got to remove that fear from your system. Now that's very difficult, but it's something to work towards in order to become more powerful. The next one is simply being physically fit. Being physically fit and in good shape is one of the most overpowered cheat codes in all of life. Not only do you have more energy, you need less sleep, you're happier, people respect you way more, easier to get a job, easier to get a girlfriend. I mean, literally everything about the world becomes 10 times easier if you're in shape versus being obese. I've spent a lot of the last 5 years or so studying health science to try and fix my stomach issue. And I was able to cure most of it, but I was able to get a really good body as a result of the different alternative health ideas that I've been trying out. There's basically no downside. And I really want you guys to realize when it comes to food too, to food and exercise, you're not just exercising your body. You're exercising your mind, your discipline, your happiness. Your mood is literally changing based on your diet and exercise. If you feel sad, it's because you're spending too much time inside. You have to go outside and work out. It's really that simple, guys. Like, in order to increase your happiness and be stronger mentally, being physically stronger helps a great deal. The next one is speed and urgency. The early bird gets the worm. Most of us are kind of lazy and undisciplined. We procrastinate a lot, and we miss a lot of opportunities. A lot of people are just slow. They're just, everything they do, they're just so slow. And you're never gonna beat me because I do everything fast. I have this sense of urgency that not many people have. Like, when I recognize there's a problem and there's something that needs to be done now, I go 100 miles an hour straight towards it. And I don't stop until it's done. And the guy who sits down for 2 hours and gets tired, he's never gonna be in my world. Not even remotely close. Learn to work fast and hard. You need speed. Like, speed is more important when it comes to life and business than people really tell you. I mean, procrastination really will crush you, but mostly you're gonna be missing opportunities. If you feel the sense of urgency and you're looking for opportunities and you're looking to act, you will find them. And so it's really just a different mindset, but it is a way to become extraordinarily more powerful, is speed and urgency. And then the final one, which honestly I probably should have started with this, but the final way to become powerful is to have kids. And I really had no idea that this was going to happen to me until it happened to me. It might be honestly like one of the hardest times ever in America to be a father. Like, the bills are so high, the work is so much, the pay is so little. You know, the family needs a lot, they want a lot of experiences, and it's just like, as a father right now, everybody's struggling and the family doesn't really understand. And it's very, very, very difficult. What you learn is sacrifice. And this sacrifice to protect and build something for the future teaches you so much and makes you so much stronger. Because before you have kids, you're living for yourself. Once you have a kid, you're not living for yourself anymore. You're living for something else. And that's a reason a lot of guys run away when they have kids. They don't want to lose all their freedom. And I'll be honest with you, it was really hard for me too. I was really struggling because I couldn't animate. You know, the kid was screaming all day and night, couldn't work. And everything started collapsing, and it was really hard, man. I mean, I didn't get the feeling to run, but I definitely understand why guys run, although I think it's horrible. But I stuck through it, and the result of that is that I became way more powerful. I have something to protect that I've invested a great deal into, that I love very much, and I have to be strong for that child, no matter what. There's dads, they come home from work, they sit in their car with their hands over their eyes. They're so unbelievably exhausted. And now they have to go in through the front door, and the whole family is going to run and hug them. But, as a dad, you just have to put on this happy face and act like nothing's wrong. You have to be strong for them. It really doesn't matter how tired or sick or exhausted you are. You always have to be there for them. There is no time to rest. There are no excuses to be made. And you realize after doing that long enough, it doesn't really get easier, but you definitely become way more resistant to it. You have less time for bullshit. You are more assertive, especially when you say no. You have to teach them all sorts of lessons that sometimes you're like, I need to learn those lessons myself. And it is a challenge right now to have children. It's just like literally too expensive. It's so stupid. It is a great challenge right now to have kids, especially with how expensive it is. I mean, daycare is just bank breaking. It's insane. But if you want to become an extremely strong man, I will always choose the father over the fatherless to lead me as the more powerful one, because true strength really comes from sacrifice. It comes from doing the right thing even when you won't be rewarded for it. That's true strength. It's bravery and courage and sacrifice and love. You think of the hero in the movie who sacrifices himself to save everybody. That's what true strength is. That's real power. And if you want power just for the rewards, you're not going to obtain it. But you see, when you become powerful, you have a completely different mindset. Things don't faze you anymore. Small things, anyway. You learn tricks like not to let things bother you even when it should be bothering you. You get control over your emotions and your mind and your feelings so that they don't affect you, and you can keep producing and keep protecting. And ultimately, that's how you gain incredible power. You are unaffected by temptation. You are willing to sacrifice for the greater good. You're brave and strong. You speak truth, even in the face of consequences. That's power. That's real power.